Hello, this is my technology trend toolbox for March of 2017. All of these different choices for trends going on right now were taken from the Horizon report. That's this right here of 2015. These are all different trends that are happening in the classroom nowadays. So today we're going to go over 3D printing, online learning, makerspaces, cloud computing, and robotics. 3D printing is the first one. The reason I want to talk about 3D printing today is because I teach engineering, and I think it's important to have 3D printing inside of any engineering classroom or art classroom or wherever you might use it. The reason I started out with this is because 3D printing can actually be used with online learning, makerspaces, cloud computing, and robotics. All this stuff can relate to 3D printing. This right here is a picture of the 3D printer that I actually have on the desk next to me right now. This 3D printer retails off Amazon for $200. That's what I talk about down here. And it's a great printer. It's a great starter printer, and it would be great for students. The only thing with it is that for $200 you get this printer and you get it in a box and you take it out, and it can print, which is fine, but it does need a little adjusting. So down here I linked these YouTube videos. There's 9 videos. It's a playlist in here for this actual 3D printer setup. So this will get you through the entire setup of this 3D printer and make it from that $200 3D printer that might junk out on you to a nice working, everything's coded correctly 3D printer. Then I talk about Cura, and here's the download button for Cura. This should link to it. Let's see here. Yep, so this is a slicer software for this Ultimaker 3D printing company. The software will actually work with any other printer. So that $200 3D printer up here that we talk about, that software can actually run this 3D printer. So we take this company's software and we actually use it for this 3D printer. In this 9-part video, he talks about how to completely set up Cura to work with that printer, which is great. Next is online learning. There's a bunch of different learning management systems out there. I have linked Canvas, Blackboard, Moodle, Google Classroom, all these ones in here. And these will link to the websites to try it or look through what they have. I've also linked the Canvas support page on here, which is a good start for anybody looking into getting Canvas or has any questions about it. The one thing that I questioned was I grade a lot through Canvas, and I was wondering if they integrated transferring grades from Canvas to Infinite Campus without jumping through hoops or having to type in a grade twice. So next year they're actually coming out with that. Also, Canvas puts out a huge YouTube channel with tons of videos to just kind of learn everything that might be coming out with Canvas, announcements, worksheets. So these are all just videos that Canvas puts out there for us to learn about the system. Then advantages to using Canvas, just everything's good for faculty, for students. The one thing that I really like is the mobile app. The students, if I ever put PowerPoints on Canvas, the students can open it up through the mobile app and they could study straight on their phones or iPads or whatever they might be using in class. I haven't used collaboration a lot on there just because I'm going to talk about cloud computing later in this. Makerspaces, that's the next thing I like to talk about. The reason I want to talk about this is because we are actually getting one started at my school right now, but the problem is that our school has so many clubs: technology club, STEM club, girls doing STEM club. There's just so many clubs with technology that we actually had to be named an association instead of a club. So we are under the Technology Student Association. This is a nationwide association that you could actually compete in challenges. You go around the nation, and it's they offer a lot of scholarships and stuff, which is great for the kids. And then also there's a website out there called makerspaces.com that puts out a bunch of great stuff, and they kind of define what a makerspace is on their website. And I'm actually signed up for their newsletter and ebooks and stuff, and they send out a lot of information that is really good for what makes a makerspace an actual makerspace, which is actually very hard to find. So I put a video in here from educators interested in creating a makerspace. They get some good explanations on what you need to get started. I also linked Amazon in here, makerspace kits. There's a bunch of different stuff on Amazon that you could actually find to get started with kits and just get the kids going right off the bat. The next thing that I linked on here was cloud computing. Cloud computing is becoming a large trend upon education. It's great when you have all the students either working together in order to get a document done, and they could all work on the same PowerPoint or Google Slides, or Office 365 has online PowerPoint, and they could all collaborate. And that's kind of what this is showing right here, that anybody can use it. And I know I'm not sure about Office 365, but I know Google has apps for all these, for your phone or for your iPad or whatever it might be, and you could download it on your phone and actually collaborate on your phone also, or your tablet, or whatever you want to use, which is great. And then instantly, as soon as you type a word, it saves it to the cloud, which I can't be happier with, because it's just horrible when you're up late trying to type a paper, try and get it done, and then your computer shuts off, or you accidentally close it, or something happens where you just lose that paper. We don't want that to happen anymore. So Google Docs, or all Google software, all Office 365 software, saves pretty much every minute, every 30 seconds, whatever it might be. I also include a Google Docs tutorial. This is just to get you started with different ways to use Google Docs in the classroom. Talks about collaboration, talks about how to get students bouncing back and forth, comments, so you don't have one. I remember in high school they used to pass out students' paper, pass it around the room, and everybody write a comment on it or something. This is much more streamlined. You could comment on individual lines. You could say, hey, this right here needs, this needs to be punctuated correctly, and you don't have 400 people writing this needs to be punctuated correctly in the same spot circling it, so you get your paper back and you can't read anything. So that's always good. I also put 50 ways to use Office 365 in the classroom. There's a slide share actually, so you could go through here, and it kind of teaches you all about each thing, and it's really great for anyone that's interested in getting Office 365 and learning all about the different things you could do with it, like setting up a teacher learning community and getting sharing in between that learning community, kind of like a Google Drive folder, but a little different, which is nice. So that's linked on here also. And then robotics. There's a lot of companies on Amazon that put out robotics kits, so you could buy something smaller. While looking through here, I was kind of astounded by the prices, $400 and all that different stuff. But a $41 robotic arm, that's not too bad. So, and it's got good ratings. That's always a good thing to look for. So just looking through here, you kind of get an idea of what kind of robotics are out there. The big one that is going around right now is Sphero. Is a robot that can actually get coded on it. They also, I believe they have other products like a BB-8. Sphero also puts out these other products that have to do with balls and stuff like that. But it's a great starting tool for robotics and just learning about how all that stuff works together. So I put that on here because I really think it's great. And also there's a program called Tinker out there. There's also another one called I can't think of it right now, but it'll probably come to me later. But Tinker allows you to program. If you could see this iPad right here, it looks kind of simple. What they do is they drag and drop a command. So it might say drive straight 5 feet, and then from there turn 30 degrees, something along those lines. So it kind of gives you a quick start guide for each of the different commands and what you can do with those and pair them up so you could use an iPad to actually code what that object is doing, which is awesome. The other robotics trend that I want to talk about was Vex Robotics. They have a website that you could actually look at all their different competitions that are going on around the world. In my high school, we compete in Vex competitions where the students have to build robots, different types of robots, and then they come in these competitions and they see who kind of has the best robot. The biggest issue that I've seen with Vex is a lot of their equipment, like this controller on here, runs on batteries, runs on rechargeable AAA batteries, and I think they're made really cheaply because at the tournament there was at least 5 robots that must have lost matches just because their batteries ran out, or just small stuff that didn't even have to do with the robot. So still a work in progress, but Vex is becoming very large. This is just a video of the Vex competition that students had to go and compete and do. So this kind of just shows what Vex entails and where you can kind of get those kits. And this was my technology toolkit. So we talked about 3D printing, kind of how to get that started in your classroom, online learning, Canvas and learning management systems, maker spaces, along the lines of getting those kits ready for kids and what you can really do to make a makerspace, and then cloud computing, which would be Google Docs or Office 365, which is great for collaboration in the classroom, and then robotics, which involved Vex and Spiro and coding and all that fun stuff. So this is a good good chunk of trends and what's going on in the world, and kind of just how to get your classroom up to the 2017 standards that might involve online learning or a makerspace in your classroom. Maybe you haven't tried Google Docs yet, or maybe you want to get started with robotics, or you didn't really know what companies put the good stuff out there. Or 3D printing, having a 3D printer in your classroom for $200 is great.